Alibaba wows Wall Street. How to buy a slice of Baba if you missed out on day one. In today's cover story, customers who are making money on iPhones. And an entrepreneur finds success with a fresh view on vintage. First Business starts now.
You're watching First Business. Financial news, analysis, and today's investment ideas.
Good morning, I'm Angela Miles. It's Monday, September 22nd. In today's first look, broken record. The Dow sets yet another new high and books gains for the week. The rest of the stock market lost ground Friday, with the Nasdaq falling 13 points and the S&P 1. Gold edged down $10, oil lower by 57 cents. Michael Cahill, CEO of the Clearinghouse for All Stock Options, is retiring January 1st at the age of 56. And Fitch Ratings Agency affirms a AAA rating for the USA, calling it home of the world's deepest and most liquid capital markets. Time now for Trader Talk. Scott Shellady, CEO of Bull Reef Brokerage at TJM Investments, joins us now. Good morning, Scott.
Morning.
And as the dust settles from the Alibaba IPO, what will traders focus on now?
Well, the traders are going to focus on the fact that it's now Ali blah blah. We would have been more surprised had it not done well. But now we're going back to the economy and the economic gridlock and poor politics. I think that's what we're going to be focusing on going forward. There are still some headwinds. The commodity indexes tell me that they're at 4-year, 5-year cycle lows. We got to be careful. There's still some things to worry about with the economy.
Scotland is sticking with the UK. What's the trade now in the dollar and the pound?
Well, I think the pound and the dollar are going to both strengthen against Europe and Asia, so you want to be long those still, considering the fact that we've gone very far to the upside with dollar. I still think it's going to happen, so both of those things I want to stay long.
The blue chips rallied on Friday while the Nasdaq struggled. Where does the Dow find support?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think the Dow is going to find support underneath 17,000. I think ultimately we've had some dangerous technical levels crossed with the Russell. I think that's been another canary in the coal mine. So keep an eye on the Russell and the Nasdaq. But hey, we can't keep going up forever. Going sideways or a little lower is going to be healthy for that market. I think the Dow finds support around that 16.8 level. I think that ultimately we will see this rally slowly but surely take off, but not very much. Again, 10% for the year is going to be a good year.
Thank you and have a great trading day.
You too.
Let's toss it over to Chuck Copeland now for the growing list of sponsors concerned about incidents in the NFL. Chuck.
Good morning, Angie. After promising to get its house in order, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell will meet with the director of the NFL Players Association this week. The league is scrambling after a wave of domestic abuse scandals ignited pushback from sponsors. The latest includes Procter & Gamble, which is backing out of a promotional initiative for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Anheuser-Busch, Pepsi, and Campbell Soup expressed concerns. Among the changes promised by the NFL, a new personal conduct policy for players. Goodell says that will be put in place sometime before the Super Bowl.
Alibaba's history-making IPO is off to a smooth start. Alibaba customers were given the honor of ringing the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange on Friday. The stock's debut happened just before noon East Coast time. Kathleen Smith, IPO ETF manager at Renaissance Capital, compares the launch to other big tech names.
At Renaissance Capital, we have seen many IPOs and many large IPOs. And we would say we would count this as one of the more successful large IPOs.
Alibaba is a Chinese version of an Amazon or a Priceline. Alibaba's founder Jack Ma becomes the wealthiest person in China now that the stock is on the U.S. market. According to Forbes, his net worth is well over $16 billion. Ma tells investors he will put customers first, employees second, and shareholders third.
Investors were eager to get a piece of the Alibaba action. Shares priced in at $68 and spiked to $92.70 at the open. The stock closed Friday at $93.31, good for a 33% gain. But there are money managers who are not getting caught up in the frenzy.
So really, I am kind of skeptical to really view the financial well-being of this company to really give it an adequate PE ratios. However, as an investor, as an advisor telling to my clients, I would stay away from it for some time, and I mean some time.
Some hedge fund managers are also not feeling the love for Baba. CNBC reports some funds were given small fractions of the shares compared to institutional investors who form close relationships with Alibaba managers.
Yahoo just made a bundle on Baba. The tech company had a 23% stake in Alibaba and reportedly sold 140 million shares, possibly raking in $12 billion. Yahoo still owns roughly 384 million more shares, worth around $34 billion. Yahoo stock sold off nearly 3% on Friday.
In today's cover story, regulatory hurdles prevent Apple's new iPhone 6 from being available in China. So it's no surprise that many of the thousands of Apple fans who lined up in Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Australia said that they were buying as many iPhones as they could for resale in the world's biggest smartphone market. Global Eye Lines began in Australia, where 1,400 people camped, and because of time zones, were first in the world to be able to buy and walk out of the store with a new iPhone 6. Many intended for China, where Apple products are popular but restricted from sale because the Chinese government still requires an unresolved network access license. In Tokyo, one buyer from Hong Kong paid friends to buy 25 iPhones for immediate resale in mainland China. In Chicago, long lines for the new iPhone 6 prompted consumers to take photos with their old iPhones.
It's ridiculous.
So how long are you prepared to wait?
About an hour, that's about it. That's all I got.
We've been here about 5.5 hours now.
And you're just down to the corner.
Yes.
Worth it?
Yes.
A line of several hundred people and the occasional eye dog snaked down the block and across the street. More than a dozen security guards stood by. By afternoon, some supplies, such as gold-colored cases, had run out. But inline reservations ensured that when people got to the front, the phone would be waiting, as it was for Ricky Mia.
I'm a photographer, so every product I have is Apple. My computers, everything. So
The camera on this phone.
on the new phone, it's awesome. Yeah, it works really, really well. I wouldn't hesitate to use my iPhone as a backup camera for any job I do.
While Apple sales in the U.S. are strong, Apple is still in a global battle with competitors like Samsung.
Are you frozen?
No, stream.
Okay. Sort of you are.
Samsung is pushing through a very successful viral campaign that's portraying Apple buyers as stupid. It's actually getting much more traffic, like better than 2-to-1 traffic over the Apple promotion of viral videos, which suggests that opinions about Apple may be degrading.
In China, according to the Communist Party publication The People's Daily, the iPhone 6 launch in China was originally set for the end of this week. So far, no alternative date has been set.
Oracle shares will be in focus today. The stock plunged 4% on Friday after the software giant reported weaker than expected earnings. Also, Oracle's founder Larry Ellison revealed he will no longer serve as CEO. Ellison will stay with the company as executive chairman and chief technology officer. Two co-leaders have been named: Safra Catz, who will oversee finance, manufacturing, and legal decisions, and Mark Hurd, who previously worked at Hewlett-Packard, will be in charge of sales and global business units.
General Motors CEO is opening up about the aftermath of its recall crisis. Mary Barra told reporters Friday that she accepts criticism from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Recently, in a Senate hearing, NHTSA officials testified that the automaker hid critical information related to its faulty ignition switches. The faulty part is blamed for the deaths of 19 people. Barra said that the company is well on its way to making sure nothing like this happens again.
General Motors is going for bigger and better with its next Cadillac. CEO Mary Barra says the new high-tech Caddy will be larger than the XTS. The car will be built at Detroit's Hamtramck assembly plant. The CEO would not say if it means more jobs, but a union president tells the Detroit News a second shift is being added.
ExxonMobil is winding down its drilling project in Russia. Exxon will comply with the latest round of sanctions from the U.S. against Russia. Those sanctions ban U.S. oil companies from working with Russia on drilling projects. Currently, Exxon is drilling an exploratory well in the Kara Sea, part of the Arctic Ocean north of Siberia. It says it will shut down operations before winter.
Caterpillar is losing its grip on sales. The company reports sales of its construction and mining equipment by dealers around the world fell 10% last month. Caterpillar blames slowing demand in Asia Pacific as well as Latin America. Also, prices are falling for commodities such as coal and iron ore. CAT shares traded last at $102.
GlaxoSmithKline is hit with a record fine. The drug maker has been found guilty of bribery in China and slapped with a $500 million fine, the largest ever for a corporation in that country. 5 Glaxo managers were convicted and received suspended prison sentences. Glaxo says it fully accepts the facts and evidence of the investigation and the verdict.
Upscale fashion retailer Prada still sees close to nada when it comes to signs of improving sales. Prada, similar to other luxury brands, is noticing a shift in shoppers who are turning away from the label craze. Economic conditions in China and Europe are also making it difficult for Prada to get merchandise out the door. The company is ratcheting down the number of stores it was planning to open.
Marriott Hotels is taking vacation virtual. The chain is creating virtual vacation rooms in some of its hotels with the help from Oculus Rift. That's the 3D virtual headset company Facebook bought in March. Guests will have access to a so-called teleporter and may wear the virtual headset to experience the sights, sounds, and even the simulated temperature of new locations.
Pros in the travel industry consider now a great time to pack your bags. Janine Tornator of Orbitz joins us from the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. She's here with tips for shoulder season. Good morning.
Yeah, shoulder season is really this travel industry term, but it's this sweet spot between the summer high season and what becomes the low season during the cold winter months for a lot of destinations, when you're going to experience less crowds, but still nice mild temperatures. And because it's a slower travel season, you're going to find great prices, especially on hotels, but many times also on airfare.
Where are the best deals?
One is basically any of the major East Coast beach towns from Florida up to Maine. You're going to find deep discounts. We're seeing hotel rates have dropped from 40 to 45% in some of these destinations. So if you weren't able to afford that big escape out to Ocean City, Maryland, or Daytona Beach in Florida, now's the time to get down there while the temperatures are still nice and the crowds are virtually gone. Another area of the country is those West Coast ski resort towns in Colorado, Idaho, Montana. Come late November when the ski resorts open, as we know, the prices go up. Right now, it's a beautiful time to go. You can see beautiful fall colors in places like Aspen, but experience hotel rates that are 50% less than what they will be during ski season.
Janine, the euro is down and the pound is also lower. What's the outlook across the pond?
You're going to see great rates in a lot of these destinations, the bigger ones, even London, Paris, Rome, but also looking at some of those second-tier markets in Europe, and especially in Eastern Europe, places like Prague, Budapest, Croatia. Those often are even cheaper than what we see in some of the more popular Western European cities.
Thank you, Janine.
Thanks, Angie. My pleasure.
On the economic calendar for today, it's existing home sales for August, and now the earnings outlook, AutoZone. Still to come, a trader sees some unusual activity in JCPenney. Is it signaling a pop or a drop? Lighting check. Vintage signs make a comeback across America. And if you think you missed the boat on Alibaba, think again. That's next after today's In the Know message. It's an exciting time for the stock market, especially with the debut of the mega IPO Alibaba. And don't be sad if you were not able to buy shares on the first day. There are ways to get Alibaba into your portfolio. Joining us now is Eric Dutram. He's an ETF strategist with Zacks. He's here to take us global this morning, starting with Alibaba. It's out of China, but it's a huge hit already in the United States. What are the ETFs that people should be watching for here?
Well, there's obviously a lot of questions about Alibaba, some of the accounting issues they've had in the past. And the IPO market has been very hot, so investors might want to try and get in just not Alibaba, but a bunch of other companies in the space. Fortunately, there's a couple ETFs out there we can look at. The first up is FPX, that's a First Trust ETF. Holds about 100 stocks in its basket. And actually, Alibaba is going to be in this fund. It's waiting a very short period of time to add Alibaba to its portfolio, probably make about 6 to 10% of this fund. And then IPO is the other ETF out there. It's from Renaissance Capital. This fund, it focuses more on IPOs that are more recent, only holds them for about 2 years compared to about 1,000 days for FPX. So you're going to get a little more volatility, but this is going to add BABA after about 5 days of trading. So will also be an option to play Alibaba in the market.
What about the emerging markets? There are growing concerns out there of a broad-based slowdown. So an ETF might be a smarter play here. What would you focus on?
Well, I definitely say these concerns of a slowdown are well-founded. The dollar's been really strengthening here over the last couple of weeks, and I think that's going to hurt commodity-focused countries a lot. So Brazil, Colombia, these type of countries are going to be ones to avoid, in my opinion. And I think investors should probably focus in on Southeast Asia. There's some strong markets there, and even the consumer. ECON is an example here. I own it in my personal portfolio, and it focuses in on the consumer market. And this could be a strong long-term performer for investors, regardless of what happens in the next couple weeks.
Any other names that you like in emerging markets?
I think some of the country ones in Southeast Asia are great. EPHE, it focuses on the Philippines. THD for Thailand. And then if you're feeling bold, India's been really strong this year, and they could see more strength in the next couple months as well.
Thank you for coming on today. Come back soon.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, is JCPenney back in style? Find out in Chart Talk. And after the break, an entrepreneur makes a business out of glowing in the dark. Stay with us.
Russia may be known for its vodka, but the nation is now taking stake in an American beer company. The Wall Street Journal reports Russia's Oasis Beverages and U.S. private equity firm TSG Consumer Partners are buying Pabst for $750 million. It's the second sale of the company in the last 4 years. Oasis is Russia's biggest independent brewer.
Neon lights may sound like something straight out of the 70s, but one business owner believes there is still cash to be made in a flash. Mary Bond Knight has a story in today's Crane Chicago Business Report.
We make neon here, and all you'll see from the floor to the ceiling is neon.
Tom Brickler is the king of neon. Since 1986, he's made and saved all kinds of signs. He and his 2 longtime employees are busy making brightly lit gifts for garages, basement bars, and man caves. And make no mistake, this is craft work, not an assembly line.
This is karaoke open, but I bet you knew that.
A walk through the jam-packed space reveals signs of all sorts, waiting to find a home, to get repaired, or to simply stay put. Years ago, while Mr. Brickler's business degree was getting him nowhere, he found a broken neon beer sign. In his quest to fix it, he landed a job at a local neon shop. He fell in love with the process that used glass and gas, along with high voltage, to craft the signs. Because neon has fallen out of favor for more energy-efficient technologies, Neon Shop Fishtail can count its local competition on one hand.
Big sign shops are gone in a way, and that it's little sign shops that are kind of getting things done right now. It's kind of incredible that we're still going with the same 3 guys, and the fact that we kept it small.
The 30s and 40s may have been neon's heyday, but Fishtail, whose signs average between $250 and $350, is up to its gills with business.
I think the end's coming back. I don't think it really ever completely left. There'll always be a need for hand-bent glass objects.
That was Mary Bond Knight reporting. Neon's popularity has dimmed in recent years. Digital signage is taking over and is projected to reach nearly $14 billion in sales by 2014. Still ahead, find out why shares of JCPenney are lighting up. Chart Talk is next. Alan Uckman of Bar Chart Bullseye Options is with us on this Monday morning. Happy Monday to you, Alan.
Good morning, Angie.
Now, you believe that JCPenney stock is on sale. What do you see in the charts here?
Well, it's had a big run, a momentum run from $5 to $10. Now it's pulled back nearly 10% from these recent highs here just in September and August. I think it's an opportunity to lean on the 10 level and use that as support.
Exactly. That big move happened off of JCP's earnings report. So fundamentally, do you believe that there's a turnaround going here?
Well, it's technical as well. Looking at it technically, it had a divergence at the bottom, so since that time, it's never looked back. So the worst looks like it's behind us. The way I'm looking to play this is with a limited risk option, buying an $8 call. $8 is the bottom of the channel. That call is going to cost about $2.75. So my break-even's 50 cents higher, and it's a February option, so I have 5 months for good things to happen.
Now, Alan, a lot of people, though, are very concerned about JCPenney. So is the options play a way to manage your risk?
Yeah, you have limited risk, going to put in a stop loss at half of what I pay. And if the stock does move up to $12, which is the target of that $2 channel from 8 to 10, the option will gain about 50% in value versus this stock move, which is about 15%. So it's a better way to get paid on an upward move with limited risk because your option can only go to 0.
Plus, it sounds like you're giving yourself a longer time horizon here.
Exactly. The option has some staying power to ride through the ups and downs because a stock like this has some activity. Now, that's not a bad thing. As I always say, volatility is opportunity, but an option is a way to ride through that and wait and get things to your target.
We will be watching JCP. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
That's it for today. Coming up Tuesday, Tampa has long been called Cigar City, but now there's just one cigar factory left standing, and it could soon be snuffed out. The cigar saga rolls out on our show tomorrow. From all of us at First Business, have a great start to your week.